Chapter 14. Kate, Thiele, and Phizat. Thiele led the group towards the center of the city, trying to keep them hidden as much as possible. They weaved around large boulders and crouched down low as they hopped over the stepping stones that led across the many creeks. They had been walking for almost an hour before Thiele finally stopped next to one of the buildings and turned towards Kate. "I do not want to worry you, Kate. You are safe with us," Thiele motioned to her two friends. "But like I said earlier, maybe not with everyone." "What do you mean?" Kate remembered Thiele's earlier warning, and the fact that she was bringing it up again made her stomach feel queasy. "That hole you fell down is a portal between our world and yours. The fact that it is open means that the push to take over the surface may have started." "What? What do you mean, take over the surface?" Kate pulled away from Thiele. Suddenly she felt cornered and desperate to get away. She instinctively clenched her fists and widened her stance like in a taekwondo, ready to fight. Her breathing was heavy. Kate, no." Even in the dim light, Thiele could see Kate's face turn even whiter than it already was. She softened her tone. "Your timing is curious, Kate. We are at a pivotal stage of our species' history, and you appear from one of the main test portals. I do not know what this means, if anything, but I know who will. We need to get you to his place of residence without being seen. But first, we need to make you a little less obvious." Kate's breathing was getting rapid and shallow. She was glad to have met these people. They seemed kind, and she was relieved not to be alone. But she didn't feel safe. Maybe it was the strange, sour smell in the air that was setting her on edge. She was eager to move on and get away from it. Thiele untied her sweater from around her waist and handed it to Kate. "Here, put this on. It will help you blend in. We need to do something with your hair, though." They didn't have much to work with. Kate tried pulling her t-shirt up over her head. It might fool Nomies from a distance. At least they wouldn't see her brown hair. But up close would be a different matter. It would have to do. They were ready to move, but Thiele held up her blue hand, signaling them to wait. A Nomie was heading their way, carrying a container of waste. Thiele and her friends pressed Kate up against the wall of the building and gathered around her, hiding her from view. "Good day to you. How are the lines looking?" the other Nomie asked. The Nomie put his left hand over his heart and gave a slight bow. Thiele responded in kind. Without further hesitation, the Nomie walked over to a small pond beyond the building and casually dumped his waste into it. Kate thought it was so gross at first, but that feeling quickly turned to fascination. Within seconds, the waste he dumped into the pool instantly dissolved into a bright lemon-yellow liquid. Kate watched in amazement as the glowing ooze was drawn into a network of clear tubes that ran across the moss and up the sides of the buildings, like radiant vines covering the outside surface of the walls, illuminating the whole area in a soft, pale light. "How does that—" There was no time to linger. "We have to go," Thiele interrupted Kate, nudging her forward. Kate and the two line workers quietly followed Thiele through the maze of buildings until she stopped behind what looked like a tall apartment block. Kate looked up at the glowing tubes that climbed the building. As strange as this place was, it was surprisingly peaceful, with its gentle light and the mossy walls that muffled the sounds of the city, their footsteps included. Wow. Kate let the words slip out. It was all so unbelievable. She watched as Thiele ran her hand down a dark line on the wall of the building. As Thiele neared the bottom, a round door, hidden by the moss, slid sideways to reveal a closet-sized room with a pole at the center. Thiele stepped quickly inside, waving for Kate and her colleagues to follow. Once they had all squished in, Thiele grabbed the pole, and the platform they were standing on started to move upwards. A few seconds later, the platform came to an abrupt halt at the third floor. Kate's legs almost buckled at the force of it. When the door slid open, Kate could see a long hallway full of doors spaced equally apart on either side. The walls ahead of them were covered in the same dark green moss that coated the outside of the building, making the hallway feel more like a pathway through the woods than the inside of an apartment block. More ooze-filled tubes ran along the low ceiling, casting a strange glow. Kate shuddered a bit as everything she was seeing looked like it was alive. Thiele did a quick scan left and right, then nodded to confirm that it was safe to move out. They stopped in front of the fifth door on the right. Thiele shot another quick glance up and down the hallway to make sure no one was watching. She knocked quietly and waited. Kate could hear someone padding towards the door, then the sound of a latch sliding open. The door swung in and they were greeted by a young blue man with a big, warm smile. "Thiele, back already? Please enter." Thiele responded with a generous smile of her own. It was clear that this person was special to her. Thiele stepped over the door jamb and headed straight for the main room. Then she cleared her throat and waved to her crew. The other two line workers shuffled in, keeping Kate behind them. Kate peered out from between her protectors, trying to take stock of where they were. It was definitely an apartment. Kate found it very small, but it was typical of a single Nomie living accommodation: a main room with a small cooking area, a sleeping area, and a bathroom. There was moss on one of the walls, and the same light tubes ran along the edge of the ceiling. Kate was especially fascinated by the giant floor-to-ceiling TV. Once they were all inside, Thiele turned to face the Nomie who had let them in. "We found something unusual today, or rather, someone. We thought you might know what we should do." "All right. So, are you going to show me?" The Nomie raised his eyebrows at Thiele, impatient to learn more. "Okay, yes. But do not just..." She sighed and simply said, "Kate?" The two line workers moved aside, allowing Kate to step forward. With a few wiggles, she popped her head out of her t-shirt, her long brown hair tumbling out onto her shoulders. The Nomie's smile faded, and he took a step backwards, sucking in his breath. His eyes widened, but he said nothing. Thiele broke the silence. "Kate, I would like to connect you with a good friend of mine. He will be able to help you." The Nomie was still holding his breath, but he recovered quickly, and a big warm smile spread across his face once more. "Hi, Kate. Welcome. My name is Phizat." Well, I hope you enjoyed that chapter. There are plenty more to go, so make sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss what's coming up next. There's a lot more to come. And if you are enjoying it, by all means, feel free to share this with your family and friends so that you can watch and listen together. I'm Eric Jingles, the author of The Nomies and the Surface Protocol. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time.